How's it going, everyone? Tim here, TRD Adventures, coming at you. Today's episode, we're going to go over an in-depth look here at my G-Speed Class 1. So, this started life. I decided to redo my Class 1 for this year. Completely rebuilt. I used my VS410 Ultra as my donor rig. Swapped some axles and other stuff over, and slowly been working on little stuff here and there. So, outside here, let's start with the body. Good old RC 4-wheel drive. Mojave cab here, and here in the front, one thing with Class 1, you have to have 50% tire coverage. So instead of just doing the standard bolt-on flares, this was my first go at actually flaring out the flares on the truck itself. I used a heat gun and a bottle and just heated up the flares and just kind of rolled and shaped them as needed. And it came out all right. For my first go, I've done a couple since, and slowly getting better at some body work there, but nailed the 50% tire coverage right on the money there. Then back here, I decided to not run a standard bed this time. I wanted to try something a little different, so I went with a custom flatbed here. We've seen this in my previous videos. This was a little bit longer, and it was a 3D printed bed frame. So I changed that up this weekend after some testing. It did great, but one thing that was a huge hang-up was how far it stuck out the rear. I'd already planned on chopping it up, so I went ahead this weekend, chopped some of the rear off, went ahead and made an aluminum frame here for it. So, also, in midst of that, added some scale points there. With the aluminum bed frame there, and then I kept the carbon fiber for the flooring. So, how do I mount the body here? On the G-Speed V1 C1 sliders there, and then right back here underneath my sand ladders, a couple body posts hidden there, and boom, it is off. Still need to do a little work on some support there, but it'll do. There's a little look there. We do have a custom scratch built interior. I used the Mojave dash piece actually, which helped out good to give it that 3D depth for scale points and interior points. And then this was my go at scratch building a styrene interior. Luckily, prettiness isn't judged as long as it's functional, and it is. I was able to keep the depth, raise a little bit of that up, add a little material there, some foam squares there for some like flooring or carpet, also to keep the weight down. And for the seats, I actually just used some aluminum cans and kind of shaped them and cut them out. And for my figures, they're a little lightweight, so they held up pretty good there. One thing I am currently working on is some sliders for this body. I have, when I picked up the aluminum for the bed, I also picked up some extra scrap here to get cut out. I'm working on those at work in my spare time there. Get those cut out and get those riveted and attached to the body there. And also currently it is just a 3D printed roof rack, but I do have metal roof racks on the way. They just haven't arrived yet, but I know that stuff takes time, so not a big deal. So here it is. Let's go over. We'll take a quick overview here. Wiring's not the prettiest, but anyway, so let's work our way in. First up, wheels and tires. These are the Team Garage Shack 1.9 wheels. These were a very necessary wheel for this build. But the Ultra portal axles are a little wider than normal there, so I needed some offset to get those wheels and tires sucked in as much as I could with the body. Now these wheels are more designed for capper axles and 10-3 axles. The Ultra portal's just a little bit bigger there, so for my hubs, I'm using Vanquish brass 475 hubs. And then the link mount on top of the knuckle, I simply unbolted it and just kind of rounded the edge on it to give it more of a bevel instead of just straight, and just gave me just enough clearance to make sure no wheel and tire contacts the knuckle. So it is very, very close, but it doesn't touch. And then wheels and tires here. These are the Voodoo Class 1 4.9 KLR MTX tires. I'm running the 4.19 Halo soft in the front and the 4.19 standard Halo in the rear. Working our way in suspension, we have some modified Traxxas big bores with Lowe's Mini T springs and 3D printed no preload spring cups. We saw in my last video, we have some 11.3 inch wheelbase high clearance links from Hardcore RC. And then also, more underneath here, there's a better look at the G-Speed V1C1 hard body sliders. And you can see here they have multiple adjustments there for body placement. I just use some set screws and just kind of, pull the body out, pinch it over that way, not individually screwing the body down every time, and fast and easy to swap out a battery if needed. We have a Vader skid here and some Incision drive shafts. Like I said, these axles, VS410 Ultra axles. Mods, I do have the underdrive gear here in the underdrive portal gear there in the rear. Then moving further in, transmission. I did have the VFD in here initially for a while, but I wanted to go a different route, and a friend of mine was needing a VFD for a build he's working on, so I went ahead, parted ways with that. So temporarily right now is a standard axial 3-gear transmission with a high altitude RC Ford motor mount. As soon as they're done making some stuff, I know they're super busy right now, I will be getting one of the Team Garage Jack Ford motor mount setups. Hopefully, I plan on getting the 15% overdrive, because the 15% from that combo with the undrive in the rear should put me in a very good sweet spot. So that is the plan there. Motor, beautiful monster here, Three Brothers RC Kratos 6 3800 kV motor, and powering that is a Castle Mom XESC, and I am running on 4S power, class 1, 2, and 3, all 4S this year. Up here, electronics, we have Three Brothers RC G14 servo and Three Brothers RC Overlander winch. And again, here is the G-Speed V1C1 chassis, all aluminum, class 1 legal, bolt-on shock towers. We're using those body posts in the rear. These are the G-Speed body post mount here, a few square spacers there. And up here in the front, I'm using for class 1 Team Garage Jack dual servo mount, and we have the G-Speed multi-mount panhard. Also, quick in the rear, this is a custom bumper from Bit Metal Fabrications. Got a hold of Donnie, let him know what all I was needing and wanting for, and he knocked it out of the park there. Super excited with it. I did not have a rear bumper made at the time I ordered that one, because with the flatbed design I was currently working with, I wasn't going to use a rear bumper, but after cutting it and stuff, I realized, yeah, I need a rear bumper. And also helps with the scale points. So I will be getting a matching rear bumper made, and also another bumper made for a project I'm working on. We'll see later on this weekend. So in the meantime, I just took a spare TF2 bumper I had sitting in the drawer and bolted it on, angled it up. It's not pretty, it is scrap, but it works. So there it is, all its glory underneath. That way, I mean, no tricks or anything. I know some people had asked in some other ones when I did have the VFD transmission, and if you search on the G-Speed page, it's done several times. All I did was position the transmission where I wanted on the skid, and I drilled my own 3 holes and then used spacers and bolted them into the skid. I do believe someone also makes a 3D printed flat skid for the VFD in that pattern. I cannot remember off the top of my head right now who makes it, but I do know it does exist. So anyways, let's get the body put back on, and let's look and see where I'm setting at scale points. Okay, and once again, I'm adding up my scale points. I'm going straight off of Sorka. Link that down below. Also, definitely go through and read Sorka. When building class 1s, there are a lot of rules and things that you have to take in and follow, as far as, measurements, wheel coverage, bumper width, windshields. There's a lot of stuff that you have to follow when building class 1s according to Sorka. And also for your local guys with Sorka Light, also from the Sorka page, you can hit the Sorka Light rules. And if neither one of you, if your local area doesn't use either one of those, obviously check with what rules they have. I know sometimes class 1 local areas, and they may require hard bodies. Some of them don't care. It can be Lexan or hard body. Some may require a smaller tire or just X amount of stuff. So definitely, if you're building a comp, your local area, look at those. Make sure, you're building and everything's correct. You don't want to build a truck based off this, and then your local group uses something totally different. You're like, oh, I got to change a few things. So taking in mind whatever comp scene you're in, local, Sorka Light, whatever, take all that as an example and, build around that, kind of feed all those goals if needed. So first off, let's scroll down here. I'm gonna, since I said there's a lot more class 1 stuff, I'm gonna skip past that. We're just gonna go straight down to the scale points here and see where we're setting. So first up, body. I do have a hard body cab, so that will give me 6 there. Next up, now drop bed. I do have a flatbed, and it is now metal, so that'll give me 3 points there. And scrolling down to frame. Sliders. Currently making the sliders. They will be aluminum, so we're going to go ahead and do metal sliders there. Bumpers. I have metal front and rear bumpers, so that'll be 6 points. I do have a stinger in the front for an additional 1 point. Roof rack. I said I do currently plastic, but metal is on the way, so we'll go ahead and do the 2 points for metal there. And a light bar. I do have a full 3D interior with 2 seats, so that's -4 points. And then I'm going to gain an additional -2 points for a scratch-built homemade interior, so that'll be 6 points there for the interior. And figures, passengers, I do have a knees-up driver, so that'll be 3 points there. I do have a chassis-mounted servo, so that's another 5 points there. Next up, onto accessories. So non-function accessories, maximum of 6. We have wipers there. We have ammo can, axe, chainsaw, med kit, sleeping bag. So definitely got our 6 there. And next up, functional scale items. We have D-rings. We have a working winch. Winches are worth 2. Headlights, taillights. The headlights are in. I'm finishing up wiring up the taillights this weekend, so I'm going to go and do that. So 5 there. We have sand ladders. I have a tow strap, and I do have a land anchor. I just kind of swap them back and forth, so 8 there. So that puts the total currently where we're setting at 49 points, which is very respectable. I'm very happy with that, class 1. I will try to pull some more out of here. I'm just trying to add a few more little things here and there, see what I can get out of it, and I'll probably gain some more when I get the new transfer case as soon as, or the new transmission as soon as I figure that out. So, anyways, that is class 1 in depth there. Like I said, I've been taking out over the past few weekends, just slowly working on stuff, doing some upgrades here and there, and it is coming along very nicely. I'm very happy with what it's able to do so far. Definitely more capable than my previous setup. I said in my other video, I think I mentioned I've been debating on, when I was doing class 1 this year, portal versus straight axle. I'm still kind of up in there, currently running the portal. My previous setup, class 1, was straight axle. Again, it's just toss-ups and the advantages, and, you know, just back and forth. You know, straight axle, you have the lower CG and the better planning. Portals, you have gained the better clearance of going over obstacles, but your CG goes up and your side hill can suffer. So it's just a toss-up and just driving and comping with tail. So I'm going to run this for several local comps here just to kind of see where it sets and how we're doing. I do have several big events planned up this year, so it'll get a very thorough workout. Instead, after a few comps, if I just think the portals, the pros of the clearance with the portals isn't worth my controllability from the straight axles, I will switch back to straight axles. But time will tell, and again, just testing and driving your truck as much as you can, just getting to know your truck and knowing its capabilities and its limits. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and everyone have a great one. Until next time, crawl on.